You ever think about the big questions? Life, death, meaning? What if they weren't just things to ponder, but a real choice with, well, eternal consequences? Today, we're going to dive into a text that makes exactly that argument. It takes us on a pretty deep journey to figure out our place in a world that, let's be honest, can feel pretty temporary and confusing. So, right from the start, the text hits you with this incredibly powerful and kind of stark metaphor. Just picture that for a second. This isn't just about some random person. It's about all of us. This gallows, it stands for mortality, right? The constant goodbyes to people and things we love, and that unsettling fact that, yep, it's waiting for us too. It's a feeling we all get, that sense of loss and the fear of our own impermanence. And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? This is the core problem the text is trying to solve. When you're faced with this constant separation, this finality of the grave, what are you supposed to do? How do you find any hope or meaning when it feels like everything is just slipping away? Okay, so let's really frame this dilemma. We're talking about a fear that is just deeply human. It's that feeling of facing an end that can seem totally and completely meaningless. It's that nagging question in the back of your head, if this all just ends, then what's the point of any of it? The way this text puts it is, well, it's like we're all exiles on a long journey. We're traveling through a world where absolutely nothing stays the same. I mean, think about it. Seasons change. People we love leave us. Life itself is just always moving, always in flux. And that creates this deep, deep sense of impermanence, which is really the root of that fear of a meaningless end. So you're confronted with this reality. What do you do? Well, the text presents us with a choice, a fundamental crossroads. And it doesn't do it with some abstract philosophy. No, it uses a very human story, a story of two brothers, each one facing a decision that's going to define their entire journey. And this is where the choice gets really clear. You've got the right road, it demands compliance, it has rules, it's got some hardships, for sure, but it promises security in the end. Then there's the left road. Total freedom, no rules, no restraint, but it's packed with danger and misery. You know, it's that age-old tension between discipline and liberty. And listen, the stakes here are, well, they're as high as they get. The paths don't just feel different along the way, their destinations are polar opposites. One leads to what the text calls a treasury of eternal happiness. The other, it ends in eternal misery. So the choice isn't just about how you live right now, it's about where you're ultimately trying to go. Now, what's interesting is how the text frames this. It's not just about feelings. It's presented as a totally rational calculation. It basically argues that the path of faith, the right road, has a 9 out of 10 shot of leading to that ultimate reward. And even if it doesn't, no harm, no foul. It's harmless. The other path, though, offers zero benefit and is almost guaranteed to lead to ruin. So it's not a blind leap of faith. It's more like a smart bet. Okay, but how are you supposed to know? How can you be sure which path is the right one? Well, the text argues that we don't have to make this choice in the dark. The proof, it claims, is literally written all around us, in the very fabric of the universe. This brings us to a really cool central idea in this text, the book of the universe. The idea is basically that nothing, and I mean nothing, is random. Every star, every plant, every single living thing is like a word or a letter that's filled with meaning and intentionally written by a single powerful author. So the universe isn't just a random collection of stuff, it's a message, a story, just waiting for us to read it. And it doesn't just leave it at that. It gives you some pretty concrete things to look at. I mean, think about it. How do soft, delicate little roots manage to break through solid rock? Or how do these giant stars, moving faster than we can even imagine, keep their perfect orbits without ever crashing into each other? Or how can a single, tiny seed hold the entire blueprint for a massive tree? These aren't just accidents, according to the text. They're signs of an intelligent, powerful hand at work. And it all boils down to this one really simple analogy. Just like when you see a beautiful, intricate piece of embroidery, you know there has to be a skilled embroiderer. The text argues that the incredible, purposeful design of the universe must have a designer. Simple as that. Okay, so let's say you buy that. There's a designer, an intelligent author. That brings up a tough question, though. What about all the suffering and injustice we see everywhere? How does this idea of a grand design square with the really painful stuff in life? And the text doesn't shy away from this. It looks it right in the eye. We see it all the time, right? The cruel and the powerful live out their lives in total comfort, while good, innocent people suffer right up until the very end. From where we're standing, it just doesn't seem fair. The books are rarely balanced. So you're left asking, how can this possibly be justice? If the universe is the work of a being that is just and powerful, how can this be happening? The obvious lack of justice in this world seems to fly in the face of the idea of a wise and merciful creator. And here's the answer the text gives, and it's a big one. Justice isn't being ignored, it's just postponed. It argues that this world isn't the final courtroom. All those unresolved issues, all those injustices, they're all deferred to a higher Supreme Court where every single thing will be weighed and judged. This is the ultimate promise. This temporary world with all of its flaws will be replaced by an eternal one. A realm where perfect justice is finally served, with palaces or eternal rewards for the good, and dungeons or punishment for the bad. It's the promise of permanence and ultimate accountability. So, that brings us right back to where we started, back to us, the individual, and the choice that kicked off this whole journey. After looking at the signs in the universe and the promise of ultimate justice, how does that change the way we look at that first, terrifying problem of a meaningless end? Remember that gallows? That symbol of death and total annihilation? The text claims that faith just removes it. The grave is no longer this black pit of nothing. Instead, it's transformed into a doorway, a passage to that everlasting treasury, that eternal happiness we talked about. Fear gets replaced with hope. The end becomes a new beginning. And this is really crucial to grasp. The argument here isn't about just believing blindly. It's framed as the most logical, the most rational conclusion. Given all the order and beauty and complexity in the book of the universe, the text argues it's way more irrational to believe it all just happened by accident for no reason than it is to accept that it has an author. So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. In our own lives, which are so full of change and goodbyes, this text challenges us to think about what it means to look for and maybe find something that lasts. What's the anchor in a world of endless waves? And what would it really mean for our lives day to day if we truly believed we had found it?